Welcome, one and all, in here, out there, all around the world, to this live stream. Today's event is called Ask a Mentor, and we are joined by Volker Heise. Hello, Volker. Volker is a mentor at MentorLane.
Hello, Conrad.
And I'm just going to begin this live stream, Ask a Mentor, by asking Volker a question. Who are you?
I'm Volker. Nice to see you again, Colin, and hello to the audience. I'm a passionate entrepreneur, so I love to solve problems or issues and can't stop it. So this is also why I'm here, because I think during the last now 30 years of starting up something, I gained enormous experience on how to do it and how to deal with all the obstacles and problems and whatever. So I had also my big up and downs.
So one of the questions I have for you right off the bat, knowing that you have a lot of experience with startup pitching, is can you give us an example of a great 180-second pitch?
Yep. This is what I wanted to do, to give you also an idea of what in your startup life will be the entrance card to investors, because some of your startups will need an investor. So this is what I will show you. So planning and moving into a building as easy as buying a car. And what you see here is not a fake, it's reality. So I'm Volker, co-founder of Borgen, and in the next 3 minutes, I will show you how this vision becomes reality. Because planning and construction of buildings is unnecessarily complex. It frustrates and slows you down. And real estate service providers also suffer from expensive, lengthy, and risky projects. So Borgen offers a digital platform, a solution as a service for property owners and real estate service providers. With prefabricated building models, Borgen can offer do-it-yourself planning and complete processing with building authorities, financial partners, and Borgen's regional partner factories. These factories take over the approved and financed buildings to fully prefabricate them in their factories and deliver them turnkey in 1 day. And it can be as simple as that. Enter a few details online and in minutes you have an overview of the entire project with costs, annuity, yield and terms. Without a salesperson, without efforts, plannable, repeatable, scalable. A real game changer for institutional investors and project developers. Because with traditional construction companies, they continue to rely on highly individual planning and outdated processes. Borgen is digitizing the entire value chain, from the plot of land into the turnkey handover. Together with partners such as brokers and project developers, Borgen reaches every target group worldwide. In Germany alone, the short-term market potential is over 100 million. In the medium term, up to 35 billion in Western Europe and North America. Borgen's customers pay in advance, so there's no need for project financing. An investment of 5,000 euros in marketing leads to a turnover of 350,000 euros in just 9 months, and many times more for B2B. The perfect situation. Borgen doesn't have to touch anything. Borgen doesn't have to pre-finance anything. So, Borgen acquires customers via social media, partners via industry events. And thanks to digital, scalable, tried and tested processes, Borgen is the only company on the market that can process 1,000 orders immediately. The Borgen team, handpicked and highly competent, entrepreneurs with proven experience in digitalization, construction, financing. We know how to scale fragmented markets and automate complex processes. In our current early growth phase, Borgen offers investors entry starting at 200,000 euros. Sorry. This allows the team to build up a budget of 1.7 million euros and secure runway of 2 years. A VC round is planned for the fall this year and with the aim of quickly implementing 1,000 new orders. So we are at the beginning of a huge blue ocean market and we are ready to conquer it.
Thank you very much for that pitch, Volker. Of course, One of the reasons why we have this live stream is to give our audience, is to give people an idea as to what the mentors at Mentor Lane look like, what kinds of people they are, what kind of experience they have. Can you tell us why you decided to become a mentor at Mentor Lane?
So on my way, people, I don't know, every few weeks ask me how to start something, because I have an idea, or I had an idea since the last 20 years. And then I every time tell them, okay, I would do it in don't start with this and that. We can talk about later. And then you will get to it if you are really hard working on it. Next to your job, however. So, and when you, Colin, came to me and tell me about Mentor Lane, I thought, okay, why not give others the chance to get this organizational setting or these ideas?
And we're very happy to have you. So if we were to go back all the way to the beginning, according to your bio, you have been a founder since 1995. So that's basically 30 years ago, about as long as I've been alive. What motivated you back then to take the step to be crazy enough to start your own company or launch your own business?
So 30 years ago or now again? Or
Let's start with 30 years ago and then let's get to the now again.
Okay, 30 years ago, it was a learning method with audio visual training of some scientists, and they realized, even if they had a really cool studio in Munich and really cool results, how to learn something so much faster than the normal methods, as you can assume, but they were not able to sell it. So I just sit in their office and tell them, okay, I will sell this. And after that, I understand, okay, they were also not able to organize all these things because they were just into this learning method. And then I started to organize for them everything. And then I began to take the business, I took it over. So, and so on. And then, and then on my way, when something then worked or not worked, I every time, let's say 9 months later, I started another business or supported some others with their business. This also bigger companies sometimes when they ask, I don't know, 15 years ago, how is digitalization working? So insurances didn't know it. So this was the question to me. And then I tried to tell them how does this work or that work. And okay, in the end, everybody would say 5 years ago, hey, you didn't know anything about the construction industry because you haven't worked there. You are not a building engineer. You're not an architect, whatever. Yes. And now they invite me and tell them about modular construction processes because we show from the Facebook little dot the whole process with digital models to the finished building. So why not? So I think this is the cool thing in the end. You are surrounded with really, let's say, motivated and motivating people. You're not surrounded by the let's say, boring people. And this is also, I think, supporting my life. And this is the reason perhaps why I'm just cannot stop to do it.
We have our first question from the audience. This question comes from Sören. How long did it take you from your first idea to the current state?
Yeah. So with Heise House, 2019, in the beginning, I started to check the market. So it was next to my job as a management consultant, was interim business. So I started to check the market. Then in springtime 2019, I began to invest a little bit in social media and check designs. So modular building designs, how they fit for the audience. So do people want this really? So in this case, I assumed reduced floor plans, high end, everything, but all inclusive, less big budget project. So more easily to afford, Energy Plus, etc. So people wanted it. So then I decided together with people which I found on my way, because I'm every time also talking about it. So you have to do something good and talk about it. is one of, I think, the biggest advices. So then there were people who just said, okay, I want to be with you. I can do this or that. And then you have to choose. And that's also not so easy, other issue. And then in fall, we started a company with some money, own money, with some first employees. And then we thought, okay, building industry is not so complicated. It's 10 times easier than automotive industry. So what could happen? But then we got the first business angels and contracted. But then a month later, COVID started and the lockdowns.
Oh no.
Okay. So where's that? The money, what we got, what was contracted, we started to invest immediately the next day into the reference house, because this is a pity. The building industry needs this, a reference house. But okay, I don't need it. I can order a house or whatever also online if everything seems reasonable. But
so
okay.
A reference house is like an example house that you can see.
Yeah. So, and then everything, let's say, getting slower and slower, people. So the 300 more people wanted to look at it in the mid of 2020. We're not allowed to look at it because it was a lockdown. And so, but in 2021, so there was a delay of, I would say, 6 to 9 months. But in 2021, when we then finally had the first contract and the first deliveries, then everything in the fall of 2021, everything was so fast. So we get so many contracts. We get so many then investors who coming to me just and said, okay, I want to invest $250,000, $500,000 just on the table with a handshake. And then 1-2 weeks later, going to the notary. So I was a constant guest at the notary office. But then next thing, there comes this war, and it was a pity, but our production was in Belarus, in Minsk.
Okay. In Belarus.
Everything stopped. So we could close the company in the end of 2022. We could do it, but it's okay. How can we do it? So pivot. How can we do it in other ways? Because we have learned something. So to answer your question now quick, it took, let's say, 2 to 3 years because of COVID. So 6 to 9 months delay to get up to a really recognizable situation with enough, so multi-million contracts. Even if we shut down Belarus or Minsk, we had then in these 9 months contracted, and we had a revenue of more than 3 million. We had more than 5 million in the company. And okay, we had shut down much more million of contracts. So
but you survived. You're still here.
This is working. So this could be a good time frame. I don't know if this is working every time so quick, but when you are really all in, so when you really want it, when you really live for it, okay. So then I think this is the rough time frame. 1 year is not enough. 2 year could be. 3 years should be.
Right. Our next question comes from Mentor Lane. You founded and led multiple companies since the 90s. What has changed most in the startup world? Okay,
the Germans are so slow because we see everything in the US, how it works with startups, with financing. But I think how entrepreneurs act is not because entrepreneurs are slow, it's because of the money is so slow here in Germany. So means we here in Germany, entrepreneurs are now understand how to pitch. Not a question. I would say perhaps even 20-30% have a complete data room, what you should have with the time. So with not only this.
What do you mean by data room?
Yeah, it's not only the pitch deck, it's also a read deck, so the full version of it, so with more information. It's a business plan, a finance plan, so 30 pages and an Excel about the whole company, so written and calculated. Also some pitch video and whatever. So everything what is in the first instance impressive and makes your company more understandable. And behind this, all the other folders with the actual financial situation, the contract situation, with employees, with partners, whatever. So this typical documentation set. And when you have it, then your investor or the ones who are looking at you will tell you, for example, quickest due diligence ever, because everything is answered, inclusive your FAQ. So this is what entrepreneurs understand and are, let's say, on a good way. But on the other hand, investors are not really there. They are much slower in Germany. Some understood it in the last years and understand how to deal with startups. But I think in the most ones are just looking at the actual situation and try to value it. And then when you have nearly nothing, it's hard to value. The US colleagues do it another way. They think, okay, this is a great idea when it's after 7 funding rounds, so 7 times dilution, having its IPO with a billion valuation. So what do I have to do now? And then the other 6 steps or 5 steps to this IPO. So this is how they think. And then it even happens that lawyers are supporting you in the pre-seed stage without any costs to get you to get it paid when you're in the next round. You have money. So this is not really working here in Germany.
What do you think, if you could pick maybe just one thing that needs to change in the German startup scene to make it more successful?
Yeah, I think so everything comes from the money, and or the motivation, let's say, when people would be more motivated. I compare it with Finland just because I think this is very easy. 20 years before, we all knew Finland. These people are so frustrated, the highest suicide rates in the world. And everybody says, yeah, sure, because Finland has no sun or not enough sun. We were all very sure about it. Now, because they have done some things, there's some mindset change. That's it. And now they are the happiest in the world. So
that is something that maybe should be researched. What did the Finns do to make them from the highest suicidal rate to the happiest?
The even better information. So we have all the information, and also the investors here are investing abroad. But here in Germany, they are staying, like the real estate industry now is going down. The interest rates are. So here in German, everybody behaves like a German. And this is the problem, I think. No, not everybody, but 90% do. So for all of us, we have to find the ones who are not behaving like Germans.
Sören asks, what are the most important characteristics/skills a young founder should have to be successful?
So I turned it around. I had a founder a few years ago before my actual business, and he presented something what I loved it from the first glance. It was Open Kitchen, yeah. And an Open Kitchen was just an app where you could look for high quality eat from a grandma, let's say, around you. And you say, I want this, I want these, whatever nice dishes 4 times tomorrow. And then she was cooking it and you can pick it up and everything was wonderful. So high-end quality for a, let's say, fast food price or something like this. Because this grandma also typically cooks and cooks for her family and cooks now 4 dishes more. Whoa. So, and he was also good in designing this idea and generally presenting it. But the problem is all the other things were not there. So really understanding how investors are thinking, and so getting all these things really done. And so then you have to, in the end, just listen. And when you listen, you have to understand. And then you have to perhaps ask again and understand it better. It's just a question and an answer like we do it now, and getting it in a way, okay, this is the outcome. Now we have to do this. And there will be many of these issues and questions, answers. But when somebody is not really able to understand it and then do it, what happens in the end, we had, I think it was in the beginning of the company, and I loved it. I got some other investors around me. We made within days a quick investors round. So I organized it. We had, I think 750,000 at the table. And we just wanted to do it and go to the notary.
So just do it.
But this guy, so these were the 10% of people who are more willing to do something. And yeah, but this guy gives us the impression in this meeting, starting with it and the days to the notary, that he will not listen to anything. So this was the big problem. And we as we were very experienced, we said, okay, when you now promise next month the app is online, then today you should have a prototype, and you have even applied at the Apple App Store for it 4 weeks before, when we have it next month online. But he didn't listen to it. He just said, okay, it is online. Okay, he didn't have the prototype, he didn't apply for it, he could not have it online in the end. So simple things, many of them. And then we postponed the notary appointment 2 weeks later, and then another time this one. So we wanted, the investors wanted. Perfect situation, or?
Perfect.
So this is now again back to the question. Listen carefully, write it down, bring it into an order, and execute it without any question. When something changes, okay, pivot and do it another way. Not everything will be perfect. So 80-20.
So if I understood you correctly, the most important quality for a startup founder is to listen, and to listen well, and then maybe to go into your 3-step process to listen to
Yeah. It's not only listening, because listening is one thing, but on the other hand, let's say when I would just listen to what people want in Germany as a house, then everybody wants a super big, high-end, individualized house with like a castle, let's say. So everybody told me in the beginning, okay, nobody wants super small and modular, and in 3 months a house nobody knows this, nobody needs this. So listening is one thing, perhaps also on details, but on the other hand, you have to have an idea of what you want to do. And when the market tells you, for example, that the salaries are not as much rising as the inflation rates, when you see that the interest rates will go up, perhaps not staying in the zero round as it was before. So when you see all these metrics, and then you understand perhaps, okay, perhaps the German will not have in 10 years an even bigger and more individualized house, because nobody can afford it. And let's say nobody means 80%. And even if it would be 20%, this is enough market to start something. And then I cannot just listen to these guys who don't listening to my venture. So you have to listen to people who are interested in your venture and who have experience. When somebody tells me also so-called juniors in startup business plan events, and they call me just, nobody needs this, then I understand along with this sentence, he or she does not understand what we are doing. He does not understand how the market is. He's living in his wonderful villa and doesn't understand what people need. So it's not just listening. Yeah, you have to have your
maybe targeted listening, maybe to the market and also your own gut and what you feel is right. I'm going to move on to a next question. This one comes from Russell, and it's more specific about your industry and sustainable housing. With the trend toward minimalism, how do you envision the future of living spaces evolving over the next decade?
Yeah. I'm believing it's an assumption with many proofs now that, just for example, when now the Taiwanese chip factory TSMC with 120 suppliers get settled down next to Silicon Saxony in Dresden, many Taiwanese and Asian people will come, and also the management will be Taiwanese. So they don't understand our way to live. When you see how they're living, then this is your answer, yeah? So it's very tiny, it's very minimalistic, super effective. Your office is your office is perfect office, but in the evening you will click on the button and your desk will fold it into the wall, and then the bed will come down and you have a perfect bedroom.
That's hard to imagine here in the West.
So then
do you think something like that will happen?
But I will have my whoever guests need an extra room. Guests need an extra room? Yeah, okay. No, we have here 50 or 100 apartments like that, and we have some shared spaces for the guests, for example, to work, to get together. So in the end, much more effective, and from my point of view also, it must not be, let's say, so separated like we have it now. Yeah. So everybody has his own room and just close the door and lives for themselves. But I think there will be more chance to have community.
Our next question comes from Shruti. Shruti asks, could you share some challenges and lessons you learned in your journey? specifically your startup journey, or maybe to make it a little more specific, what do you wish you had known then that you know now?
One hand, it's nice to be naive, to get into a story, to understand the rough idea and not to be too much into detail. Because, for example, when you told an insurance 15 years ago, all your customers, but every day more want an online documentation of everything and not these letters what you get. So you want to get it online, everything. Then they are so deep into it, they tell you told me every time, no, this is against compliance and it costs so much and too much efforts for all our structures or all the insurance companies and subsidiaries and blah, blah, blah to manage this. But in the end, somebody then 10 years ago or 8 years ago of Ergo, of Nürnberger Versicherung, etc., they just said, okay, it will be like this. The future will be online. And then this guy and this company will then organize the budget. And yes, for this big organization is much money. And then they will do it within 1-2 years. And then the audience, the customers will get everything online. So what I want to say is you also have to be naive, I think, in starting something, because when you're too deep into it, you will not do it. So I was very naive. So this is not what I really have to learn. But when you're too naive and let's say too collaborative, because I'm coming from more the IT industry and I was used to collaborate with Asian, with US guys, with Indian guys, with Chinese guys, whatever, to get something done. But when you're now, for example, in the construction industry, the bank's insurance is the same before, but now the construction industry especially, they hate to collaborate. They want to do it on their own. Every of these stakeholders want to do it on their own. And even if you think they collaborate with you, tomorrow you are out because they think we can do it without them. So naivety is nice, but sometimes in our case, in this business, also a problem.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can relate to that as well because I was actually thinking about naivete the other day in terms of Mentor Lane. And I think if I had known back then how hard it would be to launch a startup, before I launched a startup, I might not have launched a startup. But I had this very naive optimism. We'll do it. We can do it. And thinking just a couple months down the road, etc. But I am happy that I had that naivete back then. It's good when you don't know everything or you're a little too optimistic, because at the same time, even though things were very challenging, I've met incredible people. I've had incredible experiences, mentors like you, etc. So I can definitely relate to that.
Perhaps some on lesson learned and behavior of markets, investors, etc. So how to do it. I think when you start something next to your job and you don't just go on and go on and go on and go on because you're so into it, you're so longing for this, for your goals, etc. When you're just a little bit cooler, for example, and say, okay, now, for example, ask for the beginning could be, or how should be your dream team? So, and you more concentrate on your dream team than just on the idea, perhaps on both. And that's not getting overwhelmed by just the idea and then do it everything by yourself. And when you can't do it anymore, you invite the next ones. But when you more concentrate on your dream team and try to get the first or the second or the third co-founder on board. Okay, this is not easy because people are sometimes not easy. Most of the people are not easy or 80-20 or forgiving or whatever. But when you concentrate on this, I think, and getting your dream team ready, because on the other hand, the money is there. And when you are ready to present something with your, let's say, minimum 2 people, better perhaps 3, but because the money is there, I think it could be that it's then easy for you that you get the pre-seed funding. And then you are funded. And then again, get the next milestone done, and then again the team. Not just somebody alone and fighting for it alone.
Several years ago, I was doing an internship at a startup accelerator called Startup Bootcamp, and I was editing videos. And there was this one video interview with a gentleman by the name of Semyon Dukach, who was a serial entrepreneur, and I don't know if you've seen the film 21, where these mathematicians go to Las Vegas and they are able to mathematically figure out how to always win at the blackjack game.
Okay.
21. It's based on one of his experiences.
Okay.
And he said in the video, the same thing you're saying, the team is the most important thing. And I actually, about a year later, I had the opportunity to meet him, Semyon Dukach, and I told him, I really remember this. You said the team is the most important thing. And he said, no, the team is the only thing. And
Yeah.
It's just stayed with me for a while.
Yeah, because you need that to be able to rely on something. So you are the rock in the sea, yeah. And when you are then 2-3 rocks, and you understand, okay, there is this finance guy or this whatever guy who is then taking all the responsibility, and this is the important thing, the responsibility for something. And it's also the way collaborative you are. So when it's easy to interact and to be next day better than today, yeah. So then it's a cool coexistence, and you feel fine, you feel more safe. But on the other hand, when the team is not working because the time goes on, so everything is not so nice, perhaps sometimes, then that's the question, how to deal with it. So you should have a little roadmap with the team and define also milestones and what is when you break up with somebody.
Well, on that note, we're almost at the end of our time. So, Volker, I want to give you the final opportunity. Is there anything else that you want to share with us or tell us in this Ask a Mentor live stream?
Yeah. Okay. I think when you reach out for me, for my person, then it would be good to, so it must not be beautiful, but to have your idea. So to be able to communicate your idea, not in terms of, oh, this is a cool product. So even if there is, so that you have to check the competition, that you know about the market, etc. So this is what I need from you to understand and support.
So basically, dear audience, if you want Volker to be your mentor, and I believe you are available right now on the Mentorlane platform, it's important to be prepared. Send him your pitch deck. Give him as much information as possible so that he knows how he can support you. And on that note, thank you very much to everybody for joining us. This was Volker Heise. He is a mentor at Mentorlane, focusing especially in the worlds of entrepreneurship, startups, sustainable housing. There are 100 more or over 100 more mentors like Volker on the Mentorlane platform. And if you have a goal and you feel like you could use a little bit more support on how to get there, join us, and we look forward to seeing you there. So thank you very much, Volker, and best of luck with Heise House and with Borgen.
Yep. Thank you very much. And good luck
Bye.
for you and you guys. Bye.
Thank you.